In this video, Winston and I are going to tell you where all Chihuahua puppies come from. No, it's not going to be that embarrassing conversation that you had with your children about, sex. We all know where puppies come from in that context. I'm going to tell you where Chihuahua puppies, yours, mine, and your neighbors, Chihuahua puppies came from. So are you ready? Well, let's get into it. If you're new here, welcome. If not, then welcome back. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Linda. This little guy is Winston, or Sir Winston. We kind of dropped the Sir, and now he's Winston, or Winnie, or Winnie Pooh, or Win-Win. I have owned and trained Chihuahuas for over 25 years, and in that amount of time, I have also done extensive research and study on the Chihuahua breed. And I am here to help you and your Chihuahua to live the best life ever, together. If you love Chihuahuas and you want to know more about their health, nutrition, training, behavior, then you are in the right place, so please consider subscribing. Okay, let's talk about where Chihuahua puppies really come from. No matter where you got your Chihuahua, whether from a pet store, a friend of a friend of a friend, a neighbor down the street, Craigslist, a shelter, or a rescue, no matter where your Chihuahua, where you got your Chihuahua, that Chihuahua as a puppy originated in one of three places. So we're going to talk about that, all those one at a time. Are you ready? First, let's talk about puppy mills. What is a puppy mill? Most of us have heard of puppy mills. A puppy mill is where dogs are kept in horrible, humane conditions, and the sole purpose of the puppy mill is to churn out puppies and sell them. What a lot of people don't realize is that those puppies are sold mostly to brokers. Brokers then take them and sell them to pet stores all over the U.S. So most puppy mill puppies are sold to brokers, and then they are sold to pet stores. But that's not the only place. Puppy mills will sell their dogs any way they can. They'll sell them online. Some of them have some really legitimate looking websites. They'll sell them on Craigslist. They'll sell them on social media, on Facebook, on Instagram. Puppy mills are simply owned by greedy people who care nothing about the dogs in their care, nothing. Whether it's the mother, the father, or the puppies, they don't care. Their sole purpose is to make money. A puppy mill can consist of kennels, and kennels can consist of crates with wire meshes. They can be tractor trailer cabs. They can be dogs tethered to trees. Anyone who has worked to try to shut down puppy mills can tell you they are kept in some horrible, horrible conditions. With puppy mills, the females are bred twice a year. That's as often as you can possibly breed a dog. They're bred twice a year. When the female dogs, known as the dam, when they can no longer produce puppies, they're euthanized or abandoned. For more information on how puppy mills are run, how they are a huge business, and how they make a huge profit, I've put a link in the description below of a post that I wrote specifically about that. I think you might be surprised at some things that you learn. I warn you here, this is a clip from the United States Humane Society and filmed some of the conditions that the dogs live in. So I warn you, if that's something that you're just not comfortable with, then please just fast forward through this part.
Many puppy mills have hundreds, some even thousands of dogs. With an estimated 10,000 puppy mills in the United States, the industry rakes in hundreds of millions of dollars a year. Even more alarming, the number of people who own puppy mill dogs but don't even realize it.
If you want to watch the entire video, I will put a link to that in the description below. Now let's talk about a backyard breeder. What is a backyard breeder? A backyard breeder is someone who may or may not care about the dogs in their care. Sometimes a backyard breeder is just someone who owns a specific breed like Chihuahuas and decides that they're going to breed their Chihuahuas together and just make a little money. And then they get a few more dogs and breed them together and so on. Backyard breeders are called that because they're not the huge operation that puppy mills are. Backyard breeders go into it, like I said, for various reasons. No matter the reason that they decide or the motivation that makes them decide to start breeding puppies, no matter what it is, they are not registered as legitimate breeders. And worse, they know nothing about breeding. Breeding dogs is a science. You may have seen my previous video. Put the link right here. But breeding dogs is a science, and if someone breeds dogs for the purpose of selling dogs, they can make some huge mistakes because they know nothing about genetics, and some of their dogs can end up with terrible health issues. But still, whether they care for their dogs or not, their goal is simply to make money. That's the whole reason they decide to breed their dogs. Number 3, a legitimate, responsible breeder. A legitimate and responsible breeder is not in it for the money. Their goal is simply to preserve the breed. A legitimate, responsible breeder would never exploit a dog. They would never sell a dog on Facebook, Instagram, Craigslist. I'm going to put a list in the description below, a link to a list that I have of some responsible Chihuahua breeders that I know they're responsible and they are legitimate Chihuahua breeders. They breed their dogs safely. They know genetics. They know the science. They breed their dogs safely. They breed their female dogs, known as the dam, occasionally. They do not breed them year after year after year. The male dogs are known as the sire, and like I said, the goal is to produce the best specimen of that particular breed. All puppies that are from a legitimate and responsible breeder are AKC registered. If they're not AKC registered, most likely they are not from a legitimate and responsible breeder. That is if you're in America. Later, I am going to have a video that we discuss the AKC, the CKC, the UKC, all of the different KCs, or all of the different places that you can register a dog and what the differences are and how to tell the difference. But that's in a video coming up. So if you've been thinking about subscribing but haven't made up your mind, now's the time to do it so you won't miss that video. Responsible and legitimate dog breeders know the lineage of their dogs way, 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 way down the line. They know more about the lineage of the dogs that they breed than you and I know about ours. Most, maybe not all, also enter their dogs into dog shows, and then they go on to show that dog and hopefully win prizes, whatever. But I can tell you that doing that is not cheap. It's a very expensive endeavor. So these breeders do not go into it for the money, trust me. One breeder that I know, I actually did an interview of her on my website, and she talks about how you can avoid being scammed. When you're looking for a puppy, how to avoid being scammed. And I'll put the link to that also in the description below. But she tells me that it generally takes it can take up to 9 months to know whether or not a puppy is going to be the best specimen of that breed, and they'll be able to show them in dog shows. Puppies that they sell are generally pretty expensive. But another thing is that is not always true. This same breeder told me that she has sold puppies for as little as $200. So you can find a full-bred AKC registered Chihuahua. Legitimate and responsible breeders make sure that when they do sell a puppy, that puppy goes to a loving home. They're very strict and very particular as to who they sell their puppies to. They carefully screen those potential adopters before you say anything without a responsible and legitimate breeder of all the different breeds, if there were none, that breed would soon die out. Chihuahuas, for instance, if there were no legitimate and responsible Chihuahua breeders, Chihuahua as we know and love today will eventually die out. It won't look the same. It won't have the same traits, the same loving, loyal little Chihuahuas that you and I love. They'll no longer exist. I want you all to know that I have never bred dogs, nor would I ever breed dogs, because I know nothing about breeding. I know nothing about the genetics of breeding dogs. I would never do that. What I do know, what little I do know about genetics, I have learned from legitimate and responsible breeders that I have met through my work. I just want to add one little thing. In the world that we live in today, so many opinions are driven by social media. And sadly, so many people think that their opinion is the only opinion. Through all of that, legitimate and responsible breeders have somehow become the villain in this war against puppy mills. Believe me, legitimate, responsible dog breeders are not the villain. I know that this is a hot topic, and I know that you may have a very strong opinion one way or the other. I encourage and welcome all comments on this video. So go ahead and comment. Let's start a discussion. The very popular slogan, adopt, don't shop, it sounds good, and I agree with it wholeheartedly. However, unless you get your dog from a responsible and legitimate dog breeder, or a shelter, or a rescue organization, you are unknowingly or not supporting puppy mills and backyard breeders. That's the fact. Okay, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a thing or two. Thank you all so much for watching.